Shalom, family. Good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is doing well. You know, I don't know what it is, y'all. It's not the younger guys getting in a lot of trouble these days that are celebrities. It seems like these older men are, it's like, what's up already? So, anyway, Smokey Robinson has been accused of violating four of his staff. And, all four were Mexican women that are suing him. And, ladies and gentlemen, I heard stories about Smokey Robinson years ago. I know when he was in his first marriage, that ended because of all of his womanizing and cheating. In fact, one of the people he had an affair with was Diana Ross. Him and Diana Ross had an affair. And that was she was one among other women that he was running around with. And I think his ex-wife just grew tired of it, and she got out of that whole thing. And you got to also factor in he is part Esau, y'all. Smokey Robinson got a white mother and a black father, so that Esau is in him too. So, and we know when it comes down to violating women, when you look at the FBI report, we know who the biggest violator of women is, and it's not our men. Okay? It's not our men. So, yeah. And I just can't believe at 84, if it's true, you would think an 84-year-old man would be kind of chilling out, and enjoying life, what's left of it at least. You wouldn't think he would be doing this. Now, his wife is also part of the lawsuit because they are alleging that she knew. Yeah, he's biracial. And actually, take a good look at him. Look at his hair and his features. You can kind of see it. Yeah, he has a white mother. He said he had a white mother. And anyway, yeah, because him and Diana Ross, when they were growing up in Detroit, they were neighbors. And he said he was the only one on the street that had a white mother. All the other, families had black mothers on the street. He was the only one with a white mother in the hood. So anyway, y'all, um, like I said, his wife is being accused because these women are saying she knew what was going on and she did nothing to step in. She didn't try to step in. She didn't try to stop it. She just was oblivious about the whole thing. So, I mean, it's really jacked up if this is true. I hope for his sake, it's not, because when it comes down to a melanated man, he is still a melanated man in the eyes of these folks. They don't care if he's in his 80s. They'll lock his butt up. Look at what they did to Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was in his 80s. Did they hesitate to put him behind bars? And they're not going to hesitate to put Smokey Robinson behind bars either. They don't care about our men like that. They don't care at all. So, yeah, they're going for $50 million. That's what they're suing him for. Now, according to them, you know, um, he took them to the part of the mansion that didn't have cameras, and that's why. But from what I understand, even in doing that, there were some things that were caught on camera. Now, they didn't go into detail what it was, but from what I'm gathering, there were some things caught on camera that he did. So I'm sure as the weeks roll by, there'll be more coming out about this for real. I'm sure there'll be more. But it's a shame when you make it to 84 years old and you get to, you're accused of being an S you're assaulting women and they're saying it's serial. It's serial. Like you got a major, major problem. And you know how it is, y'all. These are the four you just heard of for now. It's no telling how many women are going to crawl out of the woodwork. Okay. It's no telling how many, because that very same thing happened to Bill Cosby. It seemed like every week there were more women bubbling to the surface, more women. And I would not doubt it in the case of Smokey Robinson as well. If he is violating women, I know it's got to be well beyond these women. Usually that is the case, but we shall see um, what unfolds. I do have a video I'm going to show you. And all right, let me share my screen. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Please give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Okay. Thank you. All right, let's get started.
Various allegations leveled against Motown legend Smokey Robinson. Claims by 4 former employees, including sexual assault and hostile work environment over a period of years. KCAL's Lucelia Caballero reports on why these accusations are coming to light now.
We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick rapist that must be stopped.
Attorney John Harris revealing the accusations against Motown legend Smokey Robinson.
I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and rapes because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference.
All 4 of Robinson's alleged victims have chosen to remain unnamed and are referred to as Jane Doe in the complaint.
Our 4 clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage.
The accusations against the music legend include sexual battery, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment.
We're seeking damages of $50 million.
The complaint also claiming one of the Jane Does was first sexually assaulted in 2007 and that these acts continued until she resigned in 2024. According to the complaint, Robinson's former housekeeper claims in the lawsuit that she was sexually assaulted not even 2 months after she started cleaning the couple's Los Angeles mansion. Another Jane Doe claims Robinson started sexually assaulting her in 2016, claiming when she was home alone with the singer at his Los Angeles mansion, he would text her and ask her to meet at places in the house that didn't have cameras. The woman alleges he would then sexually assault her.
We do have evidence of some of the misconduct.
The complaint says the former employees didn't speak out or go to police because they were afraid of losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, and the possible adverse effect on their immigration status.
And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment.
Robinson's wife, Frances, also named in the lawsuit, accused of creating a hostile work environment and being aware of what was alleged and not doing anything to stop it.
These 4 courageous women want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step.
The complaint also accuses the Robinsons of not paying proper wages.
And we reached out to Robinson's record label about these allegations. We're still waiting to hear back. Reporting in downtown Los Angeles, Lucelia Caballero, KCAL News.
Okay. So, Shawshanna, I saw what you wrote. You said, I'm going to need hard evidence. You don't need hard evidence in America. Just go back and reflect on Bill Cosby. You don't need hard evidence in this country. All right. Bill Cosby should have told you that. So, I mean, those women came up out of the woodwork from the 60s and 70s. And, you know, they didn't even have the R kit done, nothing. And they were still able to get money out of him and shake him down. And look at Janice Dickerson. She lied altogether and made up some story about what Bill Cosby did to her, and it never happened. And she was still able to get money. So in this country, when you are a melanated man, even a half melanated man, they don't need a lot of evidence. The word of these women will supersede anything he says. That is the way it is. And that's the way it went down for Bill Cosby. Under very similar circumstances, this is what happened. And it was nothing but their word and nothing more than that. So, yes, so you may need more evidence, but the law don't seem to need more evidence at all. They don't need it at all. And then you'll have the usual, why would they all lie? Well, you can get a lot of people to lie when it comes down to money. Sure, you can. That's easy. If it's a lot of money involved and the man is a millionaire and they know, they probably seen how extravagant him and his wife live. They work right inside their mansion, so they know how extravagant they live. So, he's a millionaire. Break me off a piece now. Now, do I think he might have done something? Judging from his womanizing past that I've heard about before, it's highly likely. But look, at the end of the day, he still gets his day in court. And that's if it goes to court. He may settle this thing outside of court. It may never make it there. So we shall see. I'm sure it's going to be in the media for the next several months, just like Bill Cosby. Mm-hmm. So, but see, my question is when he started doing that, they just kept showing up for work. That's where I got an issue with the women. Okay, let's say he did violate you. Well, no, but like I said, just hold tight, blind focus. You're just hearing about this circumstance. Me, what I'm interested in is how many more women are going to come forward. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at. But I'm just telling you of the kind of past this man had. That's all. Maybe it don't. Maybe it does. Arnold Schwarzenegger did the same thing, if you remember. He did the same thing and fathered a child with his maid. So these things are not as uncommon as you think. These circumstances are very common. If you remember when he was married to Maria Shriver, he had an affair with the maid and they had a child. So I guess he grabbed what was accessible to him. Those women that showed up. See, like I said, the only problem I have with their story is if he was violating you, why the hell did you let him start violating you and you just kept showing up for work? And you kept showing up for work. What, you can't find somebody else's house to clean? Those jobs are usually a dime a dozen. You can find somebody's house to clean, even if they're rich people, even if they're rich people that are non-celebrity. There's a lot of them that have housekeepers, a lot of wealthy people we never heard of because they're not celebrities, but they got money. That's the only problem I have. I got a problem with you've been violated and you just kept showing up at this man's house as if that's the only job in town you could get. Even as an undocumented worker, there's still opportunities out there for them. We know it is because that's why they invite them here in the first place. Because there's always opportunities for them. Right, most do. Even rich people that are just business people, they will have housekeepers too. But they're not all violating their housekeepers. And I just got a problem with these women whining about being violated, and you just kept showing up every day to let him do it. If it's true, that's where I kind of got a problem with these women. And you just don't let nobody violate you every day. Come on, man. You just don't. So one said it started, I think, 2002, and she quit in 2024. That's a long time to be letting a person violate you. That's a long time. So that's the only problem I have. I don't know how many of you feel about this whole thing. It just seems unfortunate that a man his age would be in the news for this particular reason. And why? I mean, what, just to end up like this? And these women are saying you're serial on top of that. So they said so far, Smokey Robinson has not given a statement on what he's been accused of. So we know he is definitely a Motown legend. I mean, he was there almost as long as Motown was there. And he didn't start out singing, he was a writer and producer. The singing came a little later, but he wrote a lot of hits. I mean, it's no doubt the man had musical talent. He wrote a lot of the hits that came out of Motown, especially for Tammy Tyrell and Marvin Gaye. He wrote a lot of those songs and produced a lot of those songs. The man is super talented, and I just hate to see something like this happen, but damn. You mean to tell me you don't have no self-control? I hope that's not the case. So the lawsuit is $50 million. Four of Robinson's housekeepers have accused the 84-year-old R&B legend and his wife, Frances Robinson, of multiple crimes, including battery, assault, false imprisonment, and gender violence. So they said he was not only, graping them, he was violent with them too. The shocking allegations span from, 2007 to 2024. Each of the women described being attacked in a blue bedroom inside his home. So he only one he did respond to was the Daily Mail. He said he was appalled and can't speak about this right now. While Robinson didn't want to elaborate on the lawsuit, the complaint alleged that Smokey repeatedly forced his fingers, his P, into their V, causing severe and excruciating pain without consent. According to the docs obtained by Extra, Robinson used physical barriers, threats of force to stop the women from leaving during the assaults. One of the women, Jane Doe 1, claimed in a complaint that Francis had full knowledge of his prior acts of misconduct and failed to take the appropriate corrective action to block his deviant misconduct. The woman claimed that the first assault incident against her occurred in 2023. After her first alleged incident, she allegedly faced repeated assaults and harassment. Another woman, Jane Doe 2, claimed that she was forced to resign in 2020 after 6 years of working for Robinson. Starting in 2016, she alleged that she dealt with repeat assaults and harassment. In the complaint, Jane Doe 3 alleged Robinson raped her at least 20 times while she was working for him between 2022 through 2024. Jane Doe 4 claims she quit in 2024 after 17 years due to continued assaults, harassment from Robinson, who she alleged first forced her into his bedroom and raped her in 2007. The women also accusing the Robinson of creating a hostile work environment. As for why the women didn't report the incident in question, the doc stated that the women were scared of losing their livelihood, reprisal, public embarrassment, shame, humiliation, and they were also concerned about their immigration status. You know what? I understand, but none of these reasons justify going back and serving yourself up to this man over and over and over. I'm sorry, even with the reasons they gave, to me, it's still not good enough. You should have cared more about yourself and left that place and just kept looking until you found another job. I'm sure there's always rich people looking for help. Okay, I find it hard to believe that that is a job that's hard to find. I would imagine these maids and butlers and whatever kind of household help, those jobs are probably a dime a dozen. I'm just saying, y'all. Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Black Cougar. All right. Let me see what you wrote here. I saw that you were going to talk about this on your channel, Sister Lisa, and I waited to hear your commentary. Well, worth it too, satisfied Patreon supporter. Thank you so much for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. And you're one of the people that's been around for a long time, too. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, even chefs. I mean, chefs come and go. These folks got a whole staff. They got personal assistants, they got housekeepers, they got chefs. Some of them got butlers and and they got a head housekeeper, and I mean, they got all that stuff. They got all that stuff. They even got people that just work on their cars and keep their cars serviced for them. They do all of that. They got drivers, they got all that stuff. That's what rich people have. So those jobs are always available. And a lot of times those staffing agencies out there in California, they know how to hire people for these wealthy folks and just interview them and then set them up for those kind of jobs. That's why I don't understand why these women kept going. If you can get those kind of jobs through an agency, why not just go to an agency and see if you can get another job? That's where they dropped the ball for me. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. A shout out to Queen Amadaya. I spoke to her a few days ago, and it's always a pleasure to talk to her. But look, no matter what, he still has a side of his story. He has a side too, and we can't dismiss that because these women have come forward. Smokey Robinson got the right, no matter what he's accused of, to speak his side of what happened. Whether these things occurred or not, then let him explain it. It should come from him. And, I don't want to speculate too much because we still got to hear from Smokey Robinson at the end of the day. What does he have to say? What does his wife got to say, being that she's also named in the lawsuit? These women are saying she knew what was going on. And if that is the case, that's really jacked up. That she, a woman herself, just sat and watched her husband do this. Then yeah, I see that as a big problem. But she got the right to speak her side of things as well. So we shall see when we hear from Smokey and his wife. Bill Cosby, he got to speak his side, but it was the same thing. So you know what, y'all, don't be surprised if they try to Bill Cosby Smokey Robinson too. These women are coming forward. If there's more coming forward, all you're going to do is have, just like in Bill Cosby case, a bunch of women making accusations and no physical proof. And like I said, unfortunately, the way they got the courts rigged up in this country, yeah, don't be surprised if he goes down. Mhm. Yeah, somebody had brought up Shannon Sharp, but Shannon Sharp is really a whole different issue. Plus, we know about the girl he was running around with. It's text messages and things like that. So his case is different from this, in my opinion. I think Shannon Sharp is different because there is physical evidence. It's them corresponding by phone and text messages and very explicit text messages and stuff. So that case is different. Although he is an older man, but that particular situation is different. I would think all of these older men would have better sense. I just hope that for his sake, it's not true. For Smokey Robinson's sake, I hope it's not true. Mm-mm-mm. And I mean, it can be so many different scenarios. Maybe he thought because these women were, I don't know if they're undocumented or not. It really didn't go into that. But the only thing they said was they feared, for their immigration status. So it's possible they could have all four been illegal. That's possible. And, maybe he thought because they were immigrants, it would be kind of hard for them to prove it, or they would be reluctant to say something. And then on the other hand, these women might be looking for an opportunity for a payday. But I want to hear from Smokey Robinson. That's all I'm saying. And his wife. I want to hear from them. How you doing, Queen Amadaya? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I want to thank each and every one of you. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for your prayers and reaching out to me by email, offering me support through everything that was going on with my son. All I got to say is, y'all are the most incredible subscribers a person can have on YouTube. And I love each and every one of you. And Queen Amadaya, I love you. She called me right away to check on me and my son. And I love you. I love you, Queen Amadaya. I love you. And True Royal, that is my sister of another mother, as far as I'm concerned. Thank you, True Royal, because you always been there for me, and I love you too. So, y'all, and everybody in the chat that have expressed your, sincerity to me, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay? You're all special to me, and you're all special in the eyes of the Most High. Never forget that. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you for being here. We're definitely going to come back again on a different title of a story, because there are a lot of things to talk about. That's one thing, is you ain't going to ever run out of stories up in here. Shalom, family.